Maybe we took this whole country modern thing too far.
Well, I think if we was going for Cajun modern, we pretty much knocked it on the head.
With Valentine's Day right around the corner and our partnership this week for our sponsor, which is Livin Pies, I've decided that I'm going to make one of Jim's favorite desserts, which is peach cobbler. And I'm going to bring y'all along with me while I'll tell you more about the game. Livin Pies is a relaxing, free-to-play merge game where Amelia, who's the main character, leaves her city life to go live and help out at her mom's country cafe, only to find it on fire and her mom missing. 1 stick of butter. During the game, you're actually aiming to rebuild and decorate the cafe while creating a thriving business. But that's not all. You're actually trying to figure out the mystery of your mom's disappearance while playing multiple mini games and still trying to keep up that thriving business. 1 cup of sugar. I'd like to add a little bit more, make it extra sweet. And right now they have an in-game event going on that's called Betty's Love Letters. 1 cup of milk mixed in with your sugar, which is in a separate bowl. In Betty's Love Letters, you get to embrace the romance and help Betty gather love notes to send to her friends. You can collect enough cards to earn splendid rewards. 1 cup of flour. Self-rising flour. One of my favorite aspects of this game is actually getting to watch my cafe transform from a burnt down rubble into a thriving business. I get to customize it exactly how I want. They have such a wide variety of furniture and decorating options ranging from modern to rustic to cozy country, and the possibilities are endless. While I let the cobbler cook, that means that I got 30 minutes to sit here and play Livin Pies, which means that I get to find out more about Betty's love life. Right now is the perfect time to join with all the Valentine's events and lots of free rewards and surprises. This game is totally free to download, so y'all head to the QR code that's on the screen right now that's available for iOS and Android devices to get your decorating on today. Thank you Livin Pies for sponsoring this video.
Well, Lydia, the great wallpaper whisperer, has come to a stopping point. And this is a point in time to where I'm going to have to make some adjustments on this wall. We set this trough sink in place just to kind of get some dimensions. There's going to be a mirror going on this wall. And then as we've changed this whole arrangement, 3, 4, I don't know, like a baker's dozen, there's going to have to be some changes made. And the biggest one is one that a lot of you has asked us about, is this particular receptacle. Now, a couple of those questions were, are you going to leave that receptacle where it's at because it's right behind the sink? You know, you're going to get water splashing on it and all those kind of things. Very valid question. But when we put this receptacle in, we were actually going to put in a corner style sink. So it would have been way away from any sink or water source. That obviously is not the case now. Now we are going to leave this receptacle here, but we're going to be raising it up. And the mirror is going to be hiding it. And you're going to see that later. I think you're really going to like this part. So this receptacle gets elevated and we're going to be installing 2 more, one on each side of this vanity top. That way, if someone wants to be on that side, blow drying their hair, which obviously is not going to be me, that would be a waste of time. So somebody could be on this side, blow drying their hair, doing whatever it is they do. Hey, I don't know. These are questions that I have not answers for, okay? Hey, and I don't know all the things, you know, I don't wear makeup. Don't do hair, the straightening, the curling, the doing all the things. I don't know what all goes into that. So we're going to have a receptacle available for any of those power needs. And now for the question about are these receptacles in a ground fault circuit? Yes. The first receptacle in this chain is a ground fault circuit, meaning everything they're following is going to be in that same ground fault circuit. But with that being said, we still don't want a receptacle that is going to be right here getting splattered with water. That just doesn't make good sense. Now this is kind of a close view of what we're dealing with. You can see the cover is actually stopping the sink from resting against the wall where we wanted it. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab this sink. Like I said, we just have it set up here with a little painter's tape on the bottom to make sure it doesn't scratch anything or scar anything. I'm gonna grab this thing and get it out of the way. Try to get a little progress done before the warden gets back. You know, don't want her to think that I've been in here just jacking my jaws and, you know, not getting anything done. Now I know that I have the power turned off to this circuit, but the last thing that I want is an unexpected shocking experience. So I'm going to go ahead and test it just to make double sure. Now I won't have that concern weighing in the back of my mind at all. And it is dead. Kind of like me this morning. A lot of times I'm really energetic about something, but I don't know. It's just something about moving receptacles in the wall, knowing that I got to patch this drywall. None of that really gets me excited. Doesn't really, like, you know, get the old juices flowing in the morning. Now typically moving some of these receptacles around like we're doing would be a lot bigger deal than it is for here. But in our situation, the utility room is on the opposite side of this wall, and we haven't finished the sheetrock in there. We haven't got it taped, floated, finished out. We do have it hung in place. So I should be able to just unscrew the sheetrock and be able to access all this stuff from the back. Now, of course, I said that fast. You know, nothing ever really seems to go quick for us, but I think having access to the back of this wall is really going to make the difference in this situation. Where this laser level is set up, this turns out to be right in the center of the cabinet opening for this vanity. So that's where I want to put this receptacle at. I know it doesn't really matter because we're going to have a mirror up here that's going to cover it anyway, but I just like things to be in the center. I have to put this next receptacle in at least 16 inches above the bottom of the previous receptacle. Now, with me moving it over and putting the center of this vanity, it's not going to come out to where I can nail a box into the stud. So I'm going to be using this type of box. It just goes into the sheetrock and tightens up. As you tighten the screws, these little ears come out and it locks it in place. Now, this receptacle is rarely ever going to be used. I don't know that it'll ever be used. So it really isn't going to get a lot of activity. Not a lot of plugging in, pulling out, whatever. So it shouldn't hurt at all to put one of these boxes here, and it's going to be a lot quicker. Save me some time. I don't have to frame nothing out. Don't have to do any kind of woodwork, so to speak.
Like Jim had mentioned, I actually needed to fly home for a few days. I got a call from my granny, who is an 85-year-old Spitfire, who had actually slipped and fell and broke her wrist in 3 places. And the only reason that we ended up finding out that it was severe is that she FaceTimed me and showed me how mangled her sweet little wrist was. So this meant that I needed to get home, and I'll save you all the gory details. She is okay, but I did need to get there just to check in on the situation and check in on her. In order to get from point A to point B, though, I actually had to get on, I believe it ended up being 3 or 4 planes. It's a little airport to big airport to another big airport to the town that I actually live in. So lots of flying, but it is a about 14-hour drive, so flying seemed definitely better than driving. Whenever I got there, it was a little bit colder, obviously, than it was down south, but all in all, it wasn't awful. I also got to spend some time with my dad, getting the orders ready for the restaurant, looking at all the updates that he had made, watching our friends on their TV at work, and just doing some chores that he needed to get done. And of course, he's the one who taught me how to use a drill, so why not go ahead, put me back to work. We hung up these little signs together, and it was just really nice to be able to spend some quality time. We are both so busy that we really don't get to see each other very often. Thank goodness for FaceTime nowadays. I don't know how we would keep up a relationship like we do. But all in all, like I said, he is very hands-on. And they had recently just done a remodel to their restaurant, so he needed to change up a few things and finish putting up those little details. His restaurant is an Italian Sicilian style pizza place, and it is located downtown Springfield, Illinois. If anybody ever wants to check it out, let him know that I sent you. And every time that somebody has let him know that I'd sent him, he'll actually end up FaceTiming me so I get to meet y'all, and that has been such a joy as well. Lastly, we had this little project of covering up this pipe with this fabric, I guess we want to call it, that looks like tree bark. It was really neat, and it was going to be in this walkway that goes from one area of the restaurant to another area where people are constantly in and out. So we went ahead and decorated it like an olive tree. Now, my dad is a insanely creative person, and that is where I get most of my ideas. If I get stumped, definitely call him. He'll always have a good solution. So he has so many innovative things that he has in this restaurant that is just truly amazing to see. But after a quick trip and getting my granny's cast put on, I was ready to be home and back working in the bathroom. It feels so good to be back in this bathroom working and actually getting some stuff done. Like this wallpaper, I absolutely love it. But it was a chore to put up, and I would not suggest getting this wallpaper to many people. I'm gonna go into all those details later on, but for now, I really wanted to start getting these tiles put in. So while I got a chance this morning, I'm gonna go ahead and start putting these in, and I'm gonna try to knock out this wall that's got the window and the toilet. I know we are eventually gonna have to move the toilet and cutouts for the tile and tile around there as well. But for now, I do think I am gonna start on this wall. Actually, one of the main reasons that I decided to wallpaper before I tiled is because I can overlap the tile on the wallpaper versus putting the wallpaper over the tile. So I knew about where I wanted to go height-wise, and I actually originally only planned to go about 4 foot with the wallpaper and then 5 foot up with the tiles. But after me and Jim looked at it, we decided to change that a little bit. So it's about split in half now. So it's about 4.5 foot up with the wallpaper and then 4.5 foot down with the tile. So that meant that I needed to kind of rearrange this tile and figure out how I wanted to do this. And ultimately, I based everything off the corner of this vanity. Now we are gonna put trim in these corners. That being said, I am still going to bring this tile pretty close to the edge, as well as the tile that's gonna go this way. But for now, we're gonna focus on this piece. And of course, we are gonna be using, shocker, liquid nails. Now these subway tiles are extremely thin, but that is beneficial in this case, because that means we don't have to use a lot of liquid nails to hold them up there. And we are gonna be still grouting in between. The last few times that I've actually used this, it ends up soaking me because I don't like to use the guard, which is right here, like this, because I really can't see what I'm doing, so I'd just rather flip it up and I guess get soaked. So I'm gonna put that up like usual. Jim's now just probably seeing this, but I'm gonna wear one of his really big shirts in hopes that it doesn't just drench me like it typically does. The other nice thing is the back of these tiles have like a grid on them, and I could mark the exact half, which worked out perfect. So I just put a little dot of a pencil mark just to make sure this was 3 inches, because these tiles are 6 inches, but it already makes a straight line. So that means I can skip this step.
Well, y'all, Lydia has been banging this stuff out in here. She has been slapping these tiles on the wall and really covering some ground. But when it came to my part of this little project of moving these outlets, I thought I had it in the bag. The receptacles are outside of where the sink is going to be, out of the splash zone, so to speak. I put this receptacle where it's going to be hidden behind this big reflection hoodus that we're going to put on the wall. So all that I thought that I had left to do was to patch this little hole in the sheetrock. What I didn't take into consideration was how wide this mirror is and how much surface area this wall it's going to take in, which is going to be covering this right here. So I cut these holes, I added these receptacles in, I put them outside of the sink. I had all that taken into consideration and completely forgot about the dimensions of this reflection hoodus. Now, of course, I said that fast. Nothing ever really seems to go quick for us. So me and Lydia discussed it, and I thought, hey, we could just move these receptacles out some more either way. And Lydia said, why don't we just move them down, because it's going to be some tile work around them anyway. So we reached a compromise, and I'm just going to put these receptacles right on down here because we have to tile around them anyway. Makes perfect sense. But in all actuality, it makes the most sense to do. We just move these receptacles down. I don't have to add in a bunch of wire. I don't have to do all those things. And I've already laid out where the height of the sink plus the tile that we're going to put in behind it. That way, when we come back and install this big reflection hoodus, these receptacles is going to be plenty low and they shouldn't interfere with anything. Well, I got these receptacles moved where I think, hopefully, they should live for the rest of their lives. But I got to go back and patch in these holes in this sheetrock now. I have never patched any holes in sheetrock. This is going to be a completely new thing for me, but I'd really like to get this done before Lydia gets back from town. That way it looks less like a bomb went off in here, you know what I mean? Now, the way that I'm going to attempt to patch the holes in this sheetrock, I got this tip from Jeff with Home Renovisions. I've seen him do a couple of these type patches, and they look really good when they're done. Now, I'm going to try to follow his instructions to the letter. I'll say this, it's important to try to follow directions from somebody that knows what they're doing, because old Jeff, he tried to do a dry pour here a while back, and it completely and totally got botched. It was a complete disaster, poor fella, and it's just because he missed some steps on the directions. So I don't want that to happen to me, so I'm going to try my best to follow his instructions to the letter. Hey, what do y'all think? We got a couple little dry pour projects that need done around here. Do y'all think it's time for another dry pour project? And maybe we can go through step by step one more time to make sure that nobody misses a step and everybody can end up with an awesome result like we do. So drop on down in the comments and let us know what you think. Do y'all want to see us do these other couple dry pour projects that we got going on? Just let us know. So I just cut me a few scraps of sheetrock and took one of the plugs that I cut out of the wall, laid it on the back of the sheetrock right in the middle, and I made my cuts on the back side of the sheetrock. Now, when I peeled off the back of the sheetrock, it left me this paper with a nice solid plug in here with the facing side of the sheetrock paper exposed. So what it looks like he does is put a pretty good amount of sheetrock mud inside here, I guess, for adhesion, and then smear some on the outside and lays this paper down in the mud with his putty knife. So I'm going to try that.
I think this bathroom has been through enough this week. Between the holes that had to be moved, the sink being moved in and out, all the tiling, the wallpaper, multiple jobs that we didn't even show y'all. This bathroom has been through it in a good way.
We have done an atrocious amount of work this week in here, and we still have a long way to go. But I'll have to say, the one thing that I'm most excited about, and I didn't really think that would even matter to me, is this big mirror. It's awesome. There's a bathroom with a mirror in it in our home. That is a monumental step.
Now, we definitely had to do more to that mirror than we ever intended. But, I guess not the mirror, but the whole hanging process was a whole chore in itself. But it was definitely worth it.
And like Lydia said, having to play musical receptacles multiple times to get these things finally where they were going to live, that was kind of a pain in the neck too. But we were able to get that mastered, and it turned out really good. We like it.
Now, there is still a lot of stuff that needs to be done in here. Like, we need to go back and grout all this tile. I still need to put some tile underneath the vanity. We need to put these cabinet doors on the vanity, build this shelf, and build the shelf that's going to go over behind the shower. But all in all, we're really knocking a huge chunk out of this room, and we could possibly get this done in a week. One more.
Now, we also have a mountain of trim left to put in here. But I think that's going to go pretty quick because it's all pretty straightforward stuff. I hope.
Yeah, and if you notice, he said a mountain of trim. Do you know what trim does, everybody? Covers up mistakes.
Hey, there's only like 2 or 3, 1,000 mistakes in here.
I originally only planned to do about 4 foot of wallpaper and then do 5 foot of tile, but we actually ended up switching those numbers. So that meant that I was just a little bit short on the wallpaper. So behind the mirror, whenever that wallpaper does come in, I am gonna get up there and finish that as well. Then we can finish putting the trim around the edges, do all of our tidy work, get our sink
plumbed.
Sounds like a lot left to do, but really all in all, it's just some little chores, little maintenance stuff.
How are you going to feel about me cutting holes in this countertop that we worked so hard on?
Well, the perks of having such a large sink is that even if you make a mess up, maybe it'll still cover it up. Now, I do know that this wallpaper and this tile is definitely unique, to say the least. Like we said, I think we're definitely going more Cajun modern than country modern in this bathroom. So y'all drop in the comments. We love to hear from y'all, and I love to hear if y'all love it or hate it.
Angry birds, yes. Angry birds, no.
At least they're not upside down like a bat. Wasn't that your original idea? Put it upside down like a bat? When I got back from my short visit to Illinois, I received news that Master Pilot Jerry Wall, my grandpa, had passed. He logged 6,435 hours and 20 minutes during his aviation career. Majority of his aviation career consisted of piloting the Cessna 182 jump aircraft that I was actually lucky enough to jump from. My grandpa touched many lives, and with his over 50 years of flying, he received the Wright Brother Master Pilot Award honoring his aviation experience before passing. So if you notice that for the next few days, the sky seems a little bit more clear, a little bit more bluer, the skies are clear, Grandpa.